It started with a busted air conditioner and a heat wave that made sleep feel like punishment. I wasn't even supposed to be at Jamie's house that night, let alone sleeping over. But with my apartment turning into a damn sauna and Jamie casually saying, "Just crash at mine, dude," it was an easy yes. What I didn't know was that his older brother Tyler would be home from grad school early and that he'd be the one opening the door when I got there, shirtless, with a popsicle in his mouth. Yeah, that kind of night. Roommate's gone for the weekend. Jamie had said earlier over text, "We can game all night, bring snacks." But when I showed up, Jamie was still out grabbing beer, and Tyler, taller, more ripped than I remembered, with that lazy grin that made me feel 14 again, was the one who greeted me. "Oh," he said, stepping aside and letting the door swing open. "Didn't know you were the guest." I tried to play it cool. "Didn't know you were home." He smirked and gave me a once-over that made my skin heat even more than the air outside. Yeah, surprise. It had been almost 2 years since I'd last seen him. Jamie's graduation party. Tyler was the golden boy back then. Track star, confident, always surrounded by people. I was just Jamie's awkward best friend, the quiet one who played guitar and stayed in the background. But Tyler had this way of noticing me even then, of holding eye contact a little too long, of saying things that stuck in my head long after. We stood there in the entryway for a second too long before he stepped back, letting me in. "Jamie should be back soon. You can chill in the living room." I dropped my bag by the couch, trying to ignore how his voice was deeper than I remembered. Rougher, like it had learned secrets in the last 2 years. He plopped back down onto the couch like it was his throne, popsicle back between his lips, one arm flung over the backrest. He didn't seem to care that I kept stealing glances at him. "You still doing music stuff?" he asked. I nodded, sitting on the far edge of the couch, careful not to let my leg touch his. "Trying to. Nothing serious." "Jamie said you were playing at that bar on 6th last month." I blinked. "He told you about that?" He shrugged. I asked. Before I could even unpack that, Jamie burst through the door with a bag of chips in one hand and a six-pack in the other, yelling something about the heat being actual death. The moment snapped like a rubber band. We spent the night playing Mario Kart, eating junk food, and pretending the living room didn't feel like a pizza oven. Jamie passed out around 1 a.m., face down on the rug, half a slice of pizza still on his plate. "You want the couch or the floor?" Tyler asked, standing in the doorway in just his sweatpants. I rubbed my eyes, trying not to stare. "Whichever." He tilted his head. "My room's cooler. You can crash there if you want." I hesitated, not because I didn't want to, but because I did. Too much. Tyler caught the pause and smirked. "Dude, it's a bed, not a proposal." I rolled my eyes and followed him. But the way he held the door open, like he was offering more than just a place to sleep, that felt like something else entirely. Tyler's room hadn't changed much since high school. Same posters, same scattered weights in the corner, same scent of faded cologne and laundry detergent. But it felt different walking in behind him like this, knowing I wasn't just passing by the doorway this time. He tossed an extra pillow onto the bed and pulled the fan closer, aiming it toward the mattress. "It's not luxury, but it beats sweating through your sheets," he said, scratching the back of his neck. "I'm not picky," I mumbled, peeling off my shirt and kicking off my shoes. My skin was sticky with sweat, and the breeze from the fan felt like heaven. Tyler was already climbing into bed, not bothering to put on a shirt. He laid back against the headboard, arms behind his head, abs on full display, like that wasn't a whole situation. I slid under the covers, careful to keep some distance between us, even though the bed wasn't that big to begin with. For a few minutes, it was just the soft hum of the fan and the distant chirp of crickets through the open window. I thought maybe we'd just fall asleep like that, silent and casual. But then he spoke. "Can I ask you something?" His voice was lower now, like the night itself made it okay to ask things you'd never say in daylight. "Sure," I said, staring up at the ceiling. Tyler didn't answer right away. I turned my head and found him already looking at me. "You and Jamie," he started, then paused. "You ever, slept together? Or is that just best friend territory?" I laughed, caught off guard. "Jamie? No, God, no, he's basically my brother." Tyler nodded slowly, eyes still on me. "Cool, just wondered." A strange silence settled after that, heavier than before. I swallowed hard. "Why'd you ask?" He shrugged, but it didn't feel careless. "I don't know. I guess I've always wondered if there was something between you guys." I turned onto my side to face him fully. "Nope. Never even thought about it." His gaze dipped down for a second, toward my chest, maybe lower, and then snapped back up. "Okay, just checking." Something unspoken was hanging in the space between us now, thick and unignorable. I should have rolled over, should have laughed it off and gone to sleep, but I didn't. "Why?" I asked, quieter this time. "Why does it matter?" Tyler stared at me like he was trying to decide if he could trust me with a secret that had been burning a hole in his chest. "I guess," he said slowly, "I always thought you were kinda cute." The world tilted. I blinked. "What?" He rubbed a hand over his jaw, suddenly shy in a way that didn't match the confident guy the first thought I knew. "You were always around. Quiet. Kinda mysterious. I used to wonder what it'd be like if..." He trailed off. I didn't say anything. My mouth had gone dry. Then he shifted closer. Just a few inches. But it felt like miles. His eyes searched mine, almost waiting for me to back away. But I didn't. I couldn't. And then, just like that, his hand brushed mine under the covers. Light. Testing. When I didn't pull away, he laced our fingers together. Neither of us said a word. But in that moment, everything had already changed. I laid there, hand in his, every nerve in my body, screaming that this wasn't supposed to be happening. But it was. Tyler's palm was warm, his fingers slightly calloused, like he'd spent years building something, and now they were doing something just as delicate. Holding me. It felt so simple, so calm. But it also felt like the ground had cracked open beneath us. I risked a glance at his face. He wasn't smiling, but there was this softness in his eyes, like he'd been holding something back for a long time and had finally let it go, just enough to let me see it. He shifted slightly on the mattress, closer this time. His thigh brushed against mine under the sheets. "This okay?" he whispered. I nodded. I didn't trust my voice. "Just making sure," he said, his thumb gently stroking the back of my hand. For a long while, we just lay like that, quiet. Our fingers tangled, the hum of the fan barely masking the sound of my heartbeat. I didn't know where this was going, or what it even meant. All I knew was that Tyler was touching me, and I didn't want it to stop. He rolled onto his side to face me fully. I could see him better now, the way the streetlight outside cast faint orange light across his jaw, the curve of his shoulder, the dip in his collarbone. His face was inches from mine. "I've been thinking about this for a while," he said, voice low. "But I didn't know if it was just me." My throat felt tight. "It wasn't just you." That made him smile. Barely, like he didn't quite believe it yet. "You know I used to hear you and Jamie in the basement, right?" he said, playing music. "You always looked so serious when you sang." I laughed quietly. "Probably because I was trying not to suck." "You didn't," he said. "Not even close." Then his hand let go of mine and instead moved, slowly, carefully, to rest on my hip. His fingers gripped me lightly through the sheet, like he was asking again without saying a word. My breath caught. "Tyler!" He leaned in before I could say anything else. Just a little. Just enough for his forehead to touch mine. "I'm not drunk," he whispered, "and I'm not messing around." I looked at him, really looked at him. "I didn't think you were." And then it happened. He kissed me. It wasn't rough or rushed, or the way I'd ever imagined a kiss from him would feel. It was slow, curious, his lips soft, hesitant at first, like he didn't know if I'd kiss him back. But I did. I kissed him back. And for that moment, there was nothing else. No heat wave. No Jamie passed out in the other room. No confusion or fear. Just Tyler. And me. His lips lingered on mine, hesitant at first, like he was waiting for me to regret it. But I didn't. Not even a little. I kissed him back, slower this time, really letting myself feel it. His breath catching, the way his fingers tightened slightly on my hip, like maybe he'd been holding this in even longer than I had. When we finally pulled apart, I didn't say anything. Neither did he. We just stared at each other in the dark, the silence crackling with something I couldn't name. Then Tyler let out a soft, almost embarrassed laugh. Okay, so that happened. Yeah, I breathed, still trying to catch up with my own heart. It did. He laid back, one arm behind his head, eyes on the ceiling like he was trying to make sense of what we'd just done. I stayed on my side, watching him. You're not freaking out, I said after a minute. Should I be? I don't know, I admitted. Are you? He turned his head to look at me, his expression unreadable. I don't know what this is. I just know I wanted to do that. That made two of us. He rubbed a hand over his face and then sat up a little, propped on one elbow. Can I ask you something? And you have to be honest. Okay. When you came over tonight, were you hoping for something like this to happen? I blinked. What? No, I didn't even know you were going to be here. Right. But now that it has, I sat up too, pulling the sheet with me, suddenly very aware of how close we were and how little I was wearing. I don't know, man. I didn't come here looking for anything. Tyler's eyes met mine, steady. But you're not mad. No, I said quickly. I'm not mad. Good, he said. Then, quieter. Because I really want to kiss you again. I didn't respond right away. My thoughts were a mess, all tangled up in the sound of his voice and the feel of his lips and the way the fan blew cool air over my skin while my entire body felt like it was on fire. And then I leaned in and kissed him first. This time, it wasn't slow or tentative. It was need. Weeks, months, maybe years of tension collapsing into one moment. He shifted closer, one hand sliding up my back, fingers tracing my spine like he already knew the shape of me. I kissed him harder, more confident now, more sure of what I wanted, and what I wanted was him. Eventually we broke apart again, both of us breathing hard, our foreheads pressed together. I've thought about this, he said. Too many times. Yeah? He nodded. I didn't think I'd actually do anything about it. I mean, I didn't think you'd want me to. I let out a laugh, quiet and breathless. Tyler, you've literally been my what if for years. His smile turned into something softer, something real. So what now? I laid back, tugging him gently with me. Now we stopped talking for a bit, and he did. He kissed me again, deeper this time, and the night stretched out in front of us like it had been waiting for this moment all along. We didn't sleep much. At some point the fan gave up, sputtering out a weak breeze before it started clicking like it was ready to die. Neither of us moved to fix it. Tyler lay beside me, half covered in the sheet, skin sticky from the heat, but neither of us cared anymore. It wasn't just about the kissing. It was the way he kept brushing his thumb over my shoulder without realizing it, the way his legs stayed, pressed to mine under the sheet, the way he kept looking at me like he was trying to memorize my face. I'd never seen him like this. Quiet, gentle, vulnerable. Somewhere around 4 a.m. I finally spoke. This changes everything, doesn't it? Tyler was quiet for a moment before nodding. Yeah, I think it does. There was no panic in his voice, no regret. Just a calm sort of certainty, like he'd already made peace with it. You okay with that? I asked. He looked at me, eyes steady. Are you? I didn't answer right away, because I wasn't sure what I was. Excited? Terrified? Seen? I don't know, I admitted. But I don't want to undo it. Tyler gave a small smile. Then we figure it out. He leaned in again. Just a soft kiss this time, lips brushing mine like punctuation on his sentence. His hand rested against my chest like he was grounding himself. Outside, the sky was starting to shift. The dark gave way to that early, bluish light that makes everything look unreal, like the world's holding its breath. "I've never done this before," he said quietly. "Not with a guy." I rolled onto my side to face him. "Neither have I. Not like this." He nodded. "It's different, right? It's not just messing around." "No," I said. "It's not." We lay there in the half-light, his hand still resting on my chest, my fingers tracing circles on his back. The silence felt different now, comfortable, like a new language we were just starting to learn. Then Tyler chuckled, soft and low. "Jamie's gonna freak," I snorted. "Oh my God, you think? He'll probably try to fight me." "You're twice his size," he grinned. "Doesn't mean he won't try." There was something ridiculous about the moment, about talking casually like this, naked under the sheets, tangled up after hours of kissing, like this was something we'd done before. But it wasn't. It was new, raw, real, and weirdly, it felt easy. I felt his fingers tap lightly against my ribs. "You staying in here again tomorrow night?" he asked. "I mean," I said, smirking, "I might need convincing. I think I can work with that." He kissed me again, quick, playful, and I realized something I hadn't let myself think until now. This wasn't just a one-time thing. This wasn't just about the heat, or the broken fan, or a spontaneous kiss in the middle of a summer night. This was something beginning, and I was okay with that. I woke up before him. The room was quiet except for the occasional buzz of a fly near the window. The air was still thick and humid, but I didn't mind it as much. Tyler was on his stomach, one arm draped over my waist like it belonged there. His hair was messy, sticking up in the back. And his face was slack with sleep, all the sharpness of his features softened. I didn't move. I didn't want to break it. It hit me then. How normal it felt. How terrifyingly normal. Like waking up next to him could be a thing. Like last night wasn't a fluke or a mistake, or one of those things you bury and never talk about again. Eventually, he stirred. His arm tightened slightly like he thought I might disappear. "You awake?" he mumbled, voice raspy. "Yeah." He let out a long breath, eyes still closed. "You still here?" I smiled. "You sound surprised." "A little." He opened one eye and looked at me, a sleepy grin creeping onto his face. "Morning, by the way. Morning." He stretched, his arms sliding off me as he rolled onto his back. "So, we doing the whole pretend nothing happened thing? Or do you want to?" I asked. "No," he said without hesitation. "I just didn't know where you were at." I sat up slightly, propping myself on my elbow. "I'm right here." "Good," he said, staring at the ceiling like he didn't know what to do with his hands now. "Because I'm not great at pretending." "Then don't." He looked over at me again, and for a second, it felt like we were still in the dark. Like that kiss, those touches, everything we said in whispers still hung between us. "I meant it," he said. "All of it. I wasn't just—" "I know." His jaw tightened a bit, but then he nodded. "Okay." We got up eventually, slowly, like the moment we stepped out of the room, we'd have to face real life. Jamie. The heat. The questions we didn't have answers to. Tyler handed me a shirt. His, and I pulled it over my head without thinking. He watched me do it, something unreadable in his expression, but he didn't say anything. Down the hall, Jamie was still out cold on the floor, snoring into a throw pillow like nothing had changed. But everything had. Tyler glanced at me. "Want coffee?" "Yeah," I said. "Let's just not burn the house down." He chuckled. "You're never gonna let me live that waffle fire down, are you?" "Not a chance." We moved around the kitchen like we'd done it 100 times before, bumping into each other on purpose now, sharing smirks. Tyler kept sneaking glances when he thought I wasn't looking. I caught every single one. Jamie stumbled in, eventually. Hair a disaster, rubbing his face like he'd been hit by a truck. "Mornin'," he mumbled. "Why are you both up so early?" Tyler was leaning on the counter, sipping coffee. He glanced at me, then back at his brother. "Just couldn't sleep," he said casually. Jamie grunted. "Lame." Tyler looked at me again, and this time he smiled like it was our inside joke now. And it was. Later that afternoon, Jamie left to meet up with some girl he'd been texting, totally oblivious. He asked if I wanted to come, but Tyler jumped in and said we had plans to catch up. It wasn't a lie. Once the front door closed, the silence between us changed again. Less nervous, more charged. Tyler sat back on the couch, arms stretched across the top like he owned the place. He watched me from the corner of his eye. "So," he said, drawing the word out. "Now that we're alone," I dropped down beside him, close enough that our legs brushed. "You planning on making out with me again, or just gonna flirt all day?" His eyebrows shot up. "Bold of you." "Confident," I said, smirking. "Not bold." He didn't hesitate. His hand slid over my thigh as he leaned in. "Come here," he murmured. And I did. This kiss was different. No hesitation, no testing the waters. Just heat and want, and something deeper underneath it all. I felt his fingers dig slightly into my leg, like he was grounding himself again, and it occurred to me how fast this thing was happening. But it didn't feel rushed. It felt overdue. Eventually we pulled apart, breathless and grinning like idiots. "You know this isn't just a fling, right?" he said, brushing a hand through his hair. "I know. You gonna tell Jamie?" "Not today," I said. "But, yeah. Eventually." Tyler looked relieved. "Good, 'cause I'm not exactly great at sneaking around." "Could have fooled me," he laughed, full and real, the kind of laugh that makes your chest ache in a good way. For the rest of the weekend, we didn't pretend. We shared looks across the room, sat close, let our hands brush and linger. At night, we curled up in his bed like it was the most natural thing in the world. And the weirdest part? It was natural. We didn't talk labels, we didn't try to define anything, but there was this quiet understanding between us that what we were doing, whatever it was, meant something. When I left Sunday night, he walked me to my car. "You sure about this?" I asked, suddenly uncertain. "About you?" he said, stepping closer. "Yeah, I'm sure." Then he kissed me, right there in the driveway. Not rushed, not hidden. And that was the moment I knew this wasn't just some impulsive summer thing. It was something real. It's been 3 months since that weekend. Since the night I ended up in Tyler's bed, thinking it was just about escaping the heat, only to find myself wrapped up in something that's still unfolding. Something real. I see him almost every week now. At first we played it careful. He'd come over late. We'd cook together, kiss on the couch, fall asleep watching old movies. It was quiet, easy, and exactly what I didn't know I needed. Eventually, Jamie found out. He walked into my apartment one Friday night without knocking, classic Jamie, and found Tyler there, barefoot in my kitchen, flipping pancakes at 9 p.m. like it was his place. The look on his face was something between confusion and horror. "Dude, are you too?" We didn't say anything at first. We didn't have to. The way Tyler looked at me, soft and steady, said it all. To Jamie's credit, he didn't freak out. At least not externally. He paced my living room for 10 straight minutes, then sat down and just said, "Okay, this is happening." Tyler clapped him on the back and said, "You'll survive." Since then, it's been surprisingly normal. Jamie doesn't ask questions, doesn't make it weird. Sometimes I catch him smirking when Tyler holds my hand or casually throws an arm around me, but he never says anything. And Tyler, he's different now. He's still the same guy, still confident and sharp and maddeningly good at taking up space like he owns it. But with me, he's softer. He's present. He's the guy who texts me good luck before every gig, who brings snacks when I'm buried in work, who kisses me slow and patient, like we've got all the time in the world. And maybe we do. The other day, he asked if I wanted to go away for a weekend again. Somewhere with no fans breaking down. he joked, brushing a hand across my back. Somewhere quiet, I said yes. Because the truth is, it's not about the place. It never was. It's him. It's waking up next to him, watching his chest rise and fall, hearing him mumble half-asleep nonsense, and smile when I tease him about it later. It's knowing he could have stayed silent that night, could have let it be just another sleepover. But he didn't. He took the risk. And I'm glad he did. Because now, every time he says, "Come here," I do, and I'm not going anywhere.